John Hammond here at the microphone with part 2 of our interview with Wendy Oxenhorn, the Executive Director of the Jazz Foundation of America. Wendy Atlas Oxenhorn. She's small, but she's mighty, and she's doing a lot of angel work for the musicians. So, Wendy, the Jazz Foundation of America, you have a lot of work to do. So tell us some of the things that you'd like to get done, and some of the things that you have gotten done, and let the folks know out there.
Okay. Well, for those who don't know what the Jazz Foundation of America does, is we take care of elderly jazz and blues musicians who fall on hard times. As you know, the business of music rarely takes care of musicians. And these are people that work 6-7 nights a week, or at least did when there were enough live clubs to support that. And a lot of that's dwindled. You know, we forget that we live, and I'm guilty of it too, we live with iPods attached to our heads, and we have our music all day long, and you know, there are fewer and fewer opportunities for going out to hear live music. And that's an art form we never want to lose, because it's the magic that happens when it's live. You could never replace the feeling you get when you're right there. So we love to keep these people who gave us all that, all these years, and now still they're living in our iPods today. You know, I don't know anyone who doesn't listen still to Billie Holiday and Miles and everyone else.
Well, we're right here in the heart of New York, and
that's right.
This just happens to be the place where a lot of great musicians live, you know, so it's a fantastic thing to be in the middle of all this great energy. Music Row is right up the street, you know. all the musicians go to the music stores, you know. That's where a lot of musicians meet. You go, it used to be there was more of a scene in the music stores where people would just hang out and play and trade licks. Of course, these days you have to ask before you can take a guitar down or something.
Right.
You know, but,
I was at Manny's and I saw a 5-year-old kid sitting on a stool playing electric guitar and copying some riffs from, you know, Hendrix, and I was,
wow,
things have changed.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of young talents out there, but the young talents, they had to listen to the old timers who blazed the path. You know,
pay your dues with the masters.
One thing that we were kicking around before we turned on the microphone is that you know, in the last year or so, a lot of the old timer musicians, oftentimes with the help of somebody else who's more computer savvy, they put up a MySpace, you know, and you can find a lot of musicians who just disappeared off the scene, and you can Google them. You can't even find them, but you go onto the MySpace and they have a space. So folks, and a lot of the sites are tribute sites as well, but in many cases they're in touch with the estate of the deceased musician, you know. So I'm going around and encouraging a lot of the elder musicians that I know, if they don't have a MySpace up, to find somebody in their family or in their band to help them get one online, because pretty much once you get it up, it takes care of itself with a little bit of housekeeping, you know. Sure. And it's really great. Chico Hamilton, who was on our show, on the HammondCast show recently, he's no teenager, and we'll say that, and Chico has a site there. You can contact Chico directly on there, and I did, and I met Chico years ago, but we were able to get back in contact through the MySpace. And Billy Kay, who I just saw out in the hallway here, he's got one too, you know. So you've been helping some of the musicians get websites going?
Yeah, we actually have a program that I can't talk about yet, but it's going to be amazing, just amazing. That's going to be internet related, and the money will go directly to the musician's account.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
that's really exciting. It's really a powerful thing. And the iTunes has been a wonderful thing for the musicians and the composers, you know. I got to say a special thanks to Steve Jobs, you know. He's really got his heart in the right place for the creatives, you know, and that's what it's all about, you know, because when you're playing music and you know, getting out there, going around the world, playing for people, it's all heart. It's nothing else.
All heart. It's certainly not pocket.
That's right.
I have seen great musicians come from all over to go to Europe for 1 week, and they'll come home with less than they started.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll go to play, you know, and this is where we really have to be mindful. And anyone who's in a position to hire the musicians, always go by this rule. This is a rule I go with. Always pay a little bit more than you think would be respectful. Always do a little bit more.
Right on. Well, in most businesses, people try to make money. In the world of jazz, we shoot for the break-even point. If you break even, that's considered a miracle, you know, because there's so many costs, so many hidden.
Get away from that.
Yeah, so many hidden costs. But
that's right.
You know, luckily the great musicians have some angels out there, and you can't always count on the angels, but you know, in many cases, you've been able to come through for them, and also with the help of some medical professionals, like Dr. Frank Forte is one.
Oh, Dr. Forte is the best.
Yeah.
He's the Englewood Hospital. They have given us over $5 million worth of free care in the last 14 years.
Wow.
To almost 1,000 musicians who didn't have insurance.
That is awesome.
And these are bona fide, established jazz and blues musicians. So, you know, one of the things...
And not just emergency room cuts and bruises. They're actually
operations.
Serious operations.
Heart surgery,
dental organ transplantation, all kinds of very...
replacements.
Wow.
Yeah,
incredible.
Teeth for horn players that didn't have any.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's really
wonderful.
fantastic. You know, I come from a medical family, so I really think that's great. You know, not every doctor wants to take those patients, you know, so that's right. They really show some special stuff there. It's great. So, okay. Well, I think that's a good signal that maybe we're better back it down here, folks. It's always great to have Wendy on our show. We've had her on before on the HammondCast show on KYOU. We're broadcasting from San Francisco, the city by the bay.
I'm running out of voice because I've been talking so much trying to raise money. So if you want to donate to the Jazz Foundation and help these great people who spent their lives making us happy.
Give the website, Wendy.
I will. It's www.jazzfoundation.org.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot. And what have you got to say for our folks out there? KYOU.
We love you, KYOU. Thanks for broadcasting the message.
Thanks a lot, Wendy.